Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys. Nearly messed it up. Back again with you guys for another show, for your third show of the day. Maybe that's why I'm so, not with it. Now, apologies if I look slightly darker. I don't know what it is, but I feel like ever since I got like the light that's in my face, it's been giving me a headache. So there isn't going to be a light in my face. So apologies if there is if you're not happy with how lit up my face is. Apologies for that, but I need to give my eyes a bit of a rest from having a blinding light in my face, especially considering this is our longer Q&A session as well. I'd rather not have a headache for the rest of the evening. But I still wanted to push on and do the show anyway, because I owe it to you guys, and we are always doing our Friday shows at 5 p.m. Our Let's Talk Arsenal series. Our Tuesday show has become the Arsenal Transfer Podcast. So I'm joined by some guests, and I'm going to be joined by some members next week. I haven't let them know yet, but they should keep their eyes peeled to Discord, because I'm going to be asking them very soon if they'd like to join me next Tuesday at 5 p.m. UK time. And speaking of which, I do want to give a massive shout out to the members that have joined up this week. I think it's quite a good show, actually, to just give a shout out to some of our newer members. And so I want to do that. So a massive thank you to all of the new members that have signed up in the last 7 days. And we're going to do this every single week. And we'll tell you, I would be stunned if there is this many every single week. It's been an amazing week for people signing up and helping to support the channel. So a massive thank you to all of you. Suraj, Kimby, Jacob, Iron Carb, Balaji, Nico, Sasha, TJ Cummings, Satya Brat, Zane, Scrubber Steve, Greg, who I know Gregory Beeler has been a massively long-time listener, and thank you so long for signing up, Greg. I know you've been with me for many, many years. So thanks, Greg. Gerald, Ben Leong, Jazz Meat, EKK, Ian Morgan, Herb Jeans, and Jerome Pierre. Thank you to all of the new members and all of the members overall as well. Thank you ever so much for the continuing support with the channel. It does not go unnoticed, and it goes straight back into making the show as good as it feasibly can be. And one of the ways in which we try to pay back is, of course, by giving you the opportunity to win a free entry into our sponsored prize for this week. We are sponsored by Football Prizes, and this week the Thierry Henry shirt are sold out already. Amazing response on that one. But this week, what should be there or is somewhere, I'm struggling to find it now, is a signed Ray Parlour mount. Here it is. And so you can win this signed Ray Parlour mount. So there you go. It's either a signed Ray Parlour mount or a signed Nacho Novo. I think that we know which one you'll be picking should you win. So there you go. Signed and framed with the certificate of authenticity from Ray Parlour of the FA Cup final win all those years ago. Nostalgic. And if you still want to be with a chance to win that, there's only 2 hours left on the competition. So go onto their website. You can still get a chance to win. But we're going to give away 2 tickets today, which is quite cool. So we're going to give away 2 tickets to one of our members in the Discord server. So make sure you stick around for that. But Fridays is our Q&A show. It's your opportunity to throw in your questions into the chat box. It's going to be a chilled discussion. It's not going to get angry. It's not going to get in depth. It's not going to be analytical. It is where you guys can throw your questions towards me, and I will do my best to answer them for you as much as feasibly possible. So that's what we're going to do. So if you can, and if you've got some questions, start throwing them into the chat, and we can start getting through them. They obviously Arsenal related, but it can be in regards to how we're getting on social media and stuff like that, or any of the chaos that's been going on. Just fire away, and we're going to go through as many of your questions as we feasibly can. Much love to everyone in the chat box. I'm seeing a lot of love. Thank you ever so much, guys, for the support as always. We'll scroll to the top and we'll get our first question. We'll get our first comment actually from Omar first. Evening, Tom. And Omar, of course, is one of our longest listeners. Just finished my exam, so from tomorrow morning you might see me in the transfer shows again at 8 a.m. Wow, I mean, it's a commitment, Omar, but I wish you the best of luck, mate, with your exams, and I hope they've gone exceedingly well. Mr. Joker says, Tom, I know this will be contentious, but if Chelsea offered 25 million plus for Aubameyang this summer, would you consider it? I know there is a lot of facets. It is Chelsea, but getting him off the books for a fee, wow. I mean, Aubameyang with Mason Mounts, with Kai Havertz, with Timo Werner, with Ziyech. Like, there's a lot of creative force behind him at Chelsea. Would I want to see him in a Chelsea shirt? No, I'm not sure I would, Joe. And whilst I would be open to moving him on for that fee, I'm not sure I could stomach a move to Chelsea. It's probably, but a good question. Very good question. I just think they're the club that we need to be trying to reach. And so by giving him one of our players that is, although is not controversial, but there's debate about what his level is still. I'm not sure I'd want to give him, or give rather them, treating them like a person, give them one of our best players. I struggle with that. I really do struggle with that. Hello, Iron Cup. Hello, MJL. Much appreciate you all tuning in today. I look perfectly fine, so good. I'm glad. For those that tuned in late, I've not got my front light on because I've been getting ridiculous headaches of staring at a bright light during these shows so often throughout the day. So I'm going lightless. So I hope you can still see me. I've just got these weird... You can see where the two bumps on my head... I was dropped on the head as a child, which I blame my mother for, which is a joke in itself. But no, genuinely, I was dropped on my head as a child onto a metal pipe. Would you believe that? Maybe that's why I'm an Arsenal fan. Maybe that's the reason. Joe Gifford says, Tom, you put so much work in to make the channel look good, but we really don't care about how bright your face is, especially if it causes you problems. Keep up the good work. Thanks, mate. Much appreciated. Much love, Joseph. Much love in the chat. Much love, Canav. As always, Lenny, good evening. Good Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Of course, I know it's your Friday. My Friday was yesterday. Thursdays are my Fridays because I work Saturday, Sunday, and I work on here every day. So there's that as well. Let's scroll up and get some more recent questions. Jack Burgess says, thoughts on Hector Bellerin moving to Atletico Madrid? Cannot see him coping with Simeone at all. What is it about him, Jack, that you can't see him coping with Simeone? What is it about Simeone's style of management that you think that he would struggle with? That's an interesting point. I don't know if he would struggle with the style of management. I never thought it was a style of management that Hector Bellerin's necessarily struggled with. I think he's just struggled with fitness, consistency, overall quality not being good enough, especially in the last couple of years. But my thoughts are, if we can get him out, we can get some money for him, that's all the better for us to go and reinvest it in someone else. So Hill says, Tom, what would you prefer, a billionaire owner or someone who can put a good administration backbone to the club? I suppose it depends, Hill, doesn't it? It really does kind of depend on, well, I suppose it depends on what the billionaire does, because we've got a billionaire owner. Like Stan Kroenke is a billionaire owner, but he's not done a good job. In fact, he's done a horrific job at the club. So there's no guarantees with a billionaire owner that they're going to spend, because we've not had that at Arsenal. So it's a tough question. But I think you probably then lean towards the administration backbone to get some really good heads at the club that would make some good decisions. King says, hi, Tom. Hope you're having a fine Friday. Is Sambi Lokonga a CDM or a central midfielder? It's a great question, Sambi. And what I would say is that I can give you a very good answer to that by going and watching our tactical breakdown on him. So I'm not going to give you a straight up answer, because I'm going to tell you to go and watch our dedicated video on Sambi Lokonga, and you can find out all about the Belgian international there. Josu says, basing this on your opinion on the rumours we have, where do you think we'll end next season? Wow, that is a question and a half. Where could we finish next season based upon the rumours? Well, I mean, let's look at this logically. If Arsenal ended up signing a Buendia, a Basuma, a Zeki Celik at right back, ended up getting a Bertrand or an alternative at backup left back, ended up getting in a goalkeeper, Matt Ryan, or we get an Onana as well. So we sign all of those guys. I mean, the target has always got to be top four. Always has to be. And so if you add that amount of quality to the squad and you're still not competing for top four, I would say that you'd probably have to, even by Christmas, you'd have to say, look, things aren't good enough and we're going to have to move them on. So where do I think we would finish? I'd hope we'd compete for the top four with that kind of squad, especially without any European football. That is certainly something that we should be looking and aiming towards doing. Matt G says, can you think of another player whose stock has risen and fallen as significantly as Guendouzi? Lucas Torreira is obviously another one. When he joined, he looked like doubling his value almost immediately with how good he was, how people thought this guy is going to be the answer to all of our questions that we've had in this position. So, yeah, maybe Lucas Torreira. In terms of global football, Jack Robwell maybe is another chance for one in England, especially joining Man City and then just cataclysmically dropped in value. So someone like that maybe. So let's scroll up. Joe Gifford says, are you encouraged by the general direction of the links to Arsenal so far? We may not sign any of them, but in general, they have a similar profile, young, exciting, unique. Yes, Joe, I am encouraged by it. I think it's a change. I think if you think back to all the windows where we used to moan about the signings and the targets that we had. We used to moan so much about like just these ridiculous links to players that we would then go and sign. Like we would go and sign these guys. And now it feels a little bit different, this window. To me, it feels a bit different. So fingers crossed, we're going to see some decent signings come in this window. Like last summer, but on steroids. Like I'd love to see a summer window where we really went all out and signed plenty of top quality talent. Ansgar says, who would be happy to see Guendouzi turn things around at Arsenal? Of course, Ansgar. I would be happy to see any player turn things around at Arsenal. If Guendouzi was to stay, I don't want him to. If Guendouzi was to stay and he was to turn things around, I'd be absolutely buzzing if he turned things around and became a great player, because it means he'd become a great player at Arsenal. Just like I thought Arteta, I'll still rather think Arteta should have probably gone after the whole Europa League exit. I want him to turn it around, absolutely 100%. It's a shame that there are some fans out there that I know, unfortunately, don't want that. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, tell me, anyone in the chat box is vehemently Arteta out, but surely all of you want to see him turn it around. You've got to want to, surely so. Akshat says, who would you rather, Buendia or Basuma? Oh, they're two completely different players, aren't they? I mean, I think you probably leans more towards Basuma because I think we need to add to our central midfield area as more of a priority. I think we've got a lot of players coming through in the forward line like Pepe and Smith Rowe and Saka that are only going to get better. So I think that's certainly one. LMJ says, Fab says that Danny Ceballos type central midfielder is the first priority. I actually haven't been looking at my Twitter feed for the last couple of hours. So let me just have a quick check. What has Fab been saying? Was it on the Arsenal Lounge? Was he back on the Arsenal Lounge again? My God, they are forking out. Oh, Judges, boy, they are forking out to bring on Romana every other week. Jesus Christ. I see nothing. Oh, wow, Olivier Giroud has extended his contract. That's mad. Wow, crazy. Thiago Silva has also extended. I'm surprised Giroud has extended his contract. That's mad. That's... Considering they want a striker and they've got Timo Werner and they want to bring someone else in, that's crazy. That's absolutely mad. AC Milan also signing Fikayo Tomori. And wow, I mean, and the Fabio, this is great. I'm sorry I'm updating myself now. Fabio Paratici about the Tottenham Director of Football Pros or Spurs job. I don't think this is the right time to talk about other clubs today. It's my Juventus farewell today. My family and hopes that he looks like he's probably going to be off there, doesn't he? Wow, crazy scenes. But I'm assuming that he talked about... the Ceballos type player there. So that'll be interesting to see. I've just seen Owen pop up in the chat for a question. What's he saying? Here we go. Does being vegan potentially have a negative effect on physical performance? Don't worry. I got no flack at all for suggesting this on the last podcast. I saw that, Owen, in the comment section. I didn't delete. There are some comments. Unfortunately, I have to go through and moderate some of the comments because if there's abuse and stuff towards people, I get rid of it almost immediately. But I didn't get rid of the questioning of Owen's point. There's nothing wrong with questioning someone or some things that either someone on the pod said or something I've said, as long as you're doing it in a respectful way. But yeah, you did get a little bit of flack for that, Owen. I saw that. And the honest answer is, Owen, is I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to comment. It's as simple as that. I'm not going to fall for the same trick that you've fallen for, son. I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to comment on it. That's the way I'm running with it. It's a complete cop-out, mate. But yeah, absolute cop-out, son. I'm really sorry. Let's scroll down a little bit more to get some newer questions in here. Oh no, I've got no problem with the comments. I know you don't, mate. I know you don't. Kanav says, should we pick young international right backs like Celik and Mazraoui, or pick experienced right backs like an English kind of? Oh, I see what you mean. Like the English kind of experienced in that field of the areas, like a Max Aarons. I mean, my priority is Max Aarons, but if the price is right for Zeki Celik, you're going for him. It's not necessarily about always signing from the England base. It's about signing the right player, and I think that Celik fills that role really, really well. And no updates on Basuma and Tapsoba at the moment. Sorry, absolutely none, as opposed to what we've heard. I saw someone tweeting about a possible bid for Basuma. I've heard nothing about that, so I wouldn't get your hopes up. Really be careful. I've had to block a few accounts today because there are some wannabe ITK accounts out there. What I will say is obviously I did write an article on how you can try and avoid getting fooled by ITKs over on Twitter and stuff. As a rule of thumb, what I have noticed over the last few weeks or so is there are some ITK accounts or pretending to be ITK accounts that are under 10,000 followers. That is one of the biggest signs that you will ever see, is if there is someone pretending to know information. If they have less than 10,000 followers, I mean, less than 5,000 followers should be a big problem. ITK social means in the know, if you didn't know. Someone who's trying to claim that they know things about like what's going on. So you might see people tweeting saying, oh, this is mad. I didn't realize. I thought it was kind of an accepted term. I didn't realize so many people didn't know what it is. Let me put into the chat box my article I wrote on the. I'll put it into the chat box. If you haven't read it already, I'll put it into the chat box for you. Here we go. If an ITK is someone you describe as in the know, so it used to be a term used to describe people that genuinely did know things and would have like an inside track into some of the stories that are breaking for Arsenal. Do you remember? I remember what remember Mems, a good friend of mine, Mems. He's an absolute legend. Go give him a follow on Twitter. But do you remember the whole Benzema fiasco with Jenny Lizarazu? I think that's it. I think that's her name, over in Miami. And the whole thing about Benzema was definitely coming to Arsenal. Remember that? That kind of spawned a whole ITK scenario. And so I think that maybe has seen, obviously, the success of some big news accounts. Now, you've got accounts on Twitter like Z, who I'm sure a lot of you follow. Z is really good because it's at ZRAFC on Twitter. Z is really good because they just tweet and then leave a link to where they've got the information from, where the source is. They never try and claim anything. They just tweet out what they know. And that's the type of account that you should follow. If you start seeing accounts that are like 10,000 followers or under, and they have like Arsenal have put a bid in for Basuma, or Arsenal have had a £40 million bid rejected for Buendia. Arsenal are going for, I saw one the other day, it was claiming we're going for James Maddison. Like some absolutely crazy things. Unfortunately, what these accounts usually are is they are attempting to build up, one, a following for clout. Second of all, is that they're trying to make money. And unfortunately, on the black market, you can sell Twitter accounts with a significant following and make money for it because people want to buy them. They have weight, advertising power, following power, influential power. And so a lot of people will try and build up an account through followers to try and then sell it on. That's just a business. It's on the black market. It's not legal. Twitter don't allow it. You're not allowed to sell Twitter accounts, but people do it. And so one of the big ways in the football Twitter community is through Arsenal, because Arsenal is a very, very vitriolically followed club by so many people. And people latch on to these accounts that are claiming to know things. And often what happens is that you'll build up like a number of accounts that have got a really big following, so that your literal account, you can tweet something, follow it, you jump onto your other account that's already amassed a huge amount of following, retweet that, and then all of a sudden you've got people going to this new account which you're gradually going to build up, and then you sell on for a profit. That's the business of how it works. It's crazy. But that's why you need to be really careful of who you follow, who you listen to. And that's why we try on here to give you, if we see a story, I'll give you my view if I think it's genuine or not, or if I've managed to get a small piece of info from somewhere else. I rarely share the stuff we hear. I mean, like our WhatsApp group, we find that the stuff that gets thrown in there sometimes that then turns out to be true is mad. And it's a case of only ever sharing information that, one, I've been given okay to share. I'm not going to go and say stuff that someone doesn't want me to share, because that's otherwise they won't tell me anything. It's like, have you ever seen those things where you see a account tweet like a story, and then someone underneath it will reply saying source ? Like, you're completely within your rights to ask for someone's source, but I can tell you they are never, ever, ever gonna tell you who the source is. I mean, I wouldn't. If any of the people that tell me any information which is not regularly, it's only usually I have to go to them and finding out from people and trying to ask around people within the circles of just being in the business. Like, telling someone your source is silly. Like, no one would ever divulge that information, because as soon as you've told someone your source, then that source is never going to feed you any information ever again. So that's why you see quite a lot of comical stuff. So there you go. Let's have a look. Cite your sources. Yes, exactly, says Asawa. You've got to cite. If you ever put out information, you've got to cite. It's as simple as that. I know I probably am waffling. You're right, Omar. I've gone on about this for so long. It's a topic that really, really bugs me, because people are unfortunately making money out of lying to people about stuff. And it is frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. Did Aubameyang just follow Basuma on Twitter? Oh, it's always the way. It's always the way. If he says, I've got a scoop, Draxler is coming to Arsenal. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, obviously. And I've heard that, what's his face? Frey, the goalkeeper, French guy, he's coming along with Jan and Villa. They're all coming, and Benzema's driving them, is what I've heard. Pratima, don't shout in the chat box. I will answer your question, but you said, what do you think about Nkunku and Sabitzer? Nkunku is a fantastic player. There's an absolute steal for RB Leipzig to get him. And Sabitzer, of course, is who I would look at. Is if you can't get Buendia, go in for someone like Sabitzer. Very, very good. Manu says, I just found out Vermaelen has been the only Belgian to play for Arsenal ever. We need to sign Lokonga so I can get rid of my crusty Vermaelen. Crusty? That's an awful word. Why have you said that? That's dreadful. A crusty shirt. That's disgusting. Oh, dearie me. Sebastian Frey. Yes, thank you, Danny. That's who I was thinking of. Matt G says, too late, Omar. You're getting banned now. What's he said? What's Omar done? Favourites, dark horses, and one to watch for Euro 2020. All of our Euro 2020 coverage is going to be over at 101 Great Goals. It's where my day job is. It's where I write. It's where my journalism is at. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. We've got lots of content coming out throughout the Euros. We're going to have content from the Euros. I'm going to be going to the Euros for one of the games in the round of 16, which I'm looking forward to at Wembley. So we're going to be getting content out for that. So I'm looking forward to that a lot, to get you guys some coverage from there and some footage and some news stories coming out from the Euros too. So make sure you keep an eye on 101 Great Goals for that. But Omar says, favourites. My favourite is definitely France. I can't really go any further than that. Their squad is so strong. Dark horses. I'm tempted. I mean, if you want, I think there's two kind of categories of dark horses. You got your long shot dark horses, which I would look at as someone like Turkey. Really, really interesting squad, a really interesting side with players like Burak Yilmaz, who's had an amazing season at Lille, along with Yatziki and and Zeki Celik as well. But they've got a decent defence. Ozan Kabak, of course, Chalia Soyuncu. They've got some really interesting midfielders. Yokozlu from West Brom, who spent time there this season as well. They've got a really intriguing team, have Turkey. And so I'm interested to see how they get on. I've been keeping an eye on Spain. They're not the Spain of old, but they've got some really interesting players. I'm really excited to see how Ferran Torres gets on. Is he going to play as a more central figure for them, a goal scorer? Asensio didn't get picked, which I'm gutted about. I would have said Hungary, but Szoboszlai is not going to be going. Any other nations that are ones to look out for? I'm interested to see if Scotland can somehow knock out Croatia from England's group. I think England will go through, but I think Scotland have a decent chance of getting through over Croatia, who have not had the best of times of late. And they put on a very decent display against the Netherlands the other day. But yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. And the one to watch for Euro 2020, player to watch, Euro 2020, I think is probably someone like Jadon Sancho for England. I'm interested to see who is an interesting player. Pedri in the Spanish national side, the Barcelona kid, see how he gets on. Luis Enrique has been using him a lot, so that'll be fun. For Italy, who for Italy is one that could be interesting. I love Verratti, but obviously he's on. I mean, Italy don't have the youngest of squads anymore. For Holland, Daniel Marlin, of course, formerly of Arsenal. Germany, Serge Gnabry, people to watch out for. For France, for Spain, Laporte. I want to see how Laporte gets on as well. So there's lots of things to look out for at the Euros. And Bukayo Saka, of course. Yes, Jack Burgess, repping us for Arsenal here as well. Plenty of people to look out for at the Euros this season. Viresh says, why can't we go for Max Aarons? Oh, you're asking the wrong person. Viresh should be asking the club, mate. Spending that amount of money on a right back will be a bad deal. Interesting. So you're saying that we shouldn't be spending that much. I disagree. I think that if we've got the money, you go for it. At the end of the day, I'm not ever really that concerned about when we actually spend the money. It's not mine. As long as we get all of our targets in the window, I'm not that concerned about how much we spend, as long as they're on good players and then they're going to improve us and then they're going to be good for us next season. That's what matters. King says, I'll never forget those links to Mvia and Draxler and Benzema in 2014. Now, those were the days. Those were the days of really going through and checking your Arsenal rumour mill. That was the one. Tonali, yes, that's not a bad shout for Italy. Botman says, so he'll not Boatman. Botman for the Netherlands. Joe Gifford says, what position do you think Bukayo Saka will settle in? Up to this point, he seems to have been the most successful at right wing. I think that he will kind of move to that left-hand side. That's where I see him being, to be honest. Daniel says, I think Arsenal have to be careful buying players. They are hoping to get the best fit for those positions and not just waste their money. Gooner for life. Love your show. Repping, live in Ghana. Congratulations, Daniel, on repping from Ghana. You're a Ghana representative. So thank you so much, Daniel. I hope they are being careful. I hope they are looking at what the mistakes they've made in the past, Dan. I really do. And I hope they've learned from them. Let's scroll down a little bit more. Omar says, I have seen rumours of a Bellerin Trippier swap deal. No, thank you. I'd like Trippier. Now he's left Spurs. Don't get me wrong. Hated him when he was there. I've liked him. But it's just not what I want from a right back. I'm just not that keen. I don't know what it is. Sometimes you just have a feeling about a player. I'm not being snobby or arrogant. I don't know what it is. I'm just not that keen. He may end up proving me wrong. But yeah, I'm just not that keen. Here we go. Iron Cub says, Tom DiMarzio says Conte is more likely to reject the Spurs job. Wow. That would be crazy if that is the case. Let's have a look at what DiMarzio is saying. Is this actually the case? If it is, then great. I hope that he is going to look to reject them. I can't see anything on his Twitter so far. Here we go. Conte is not yet convinced to accept the destination of Spurs. I mean, wonderful. I really hope they don't get him. I don't want them to get Poch either, but he won't win him any trophies. He's failed at that already. Fire says, do you see any club looking to buy Aubameyang if Arsenal wants to sell? No, I don't. I'm sorry, but I just can't see him going. JD says, which would you prefer, a midfield trio of Basuma, Partey and Emile Smith-Rowe, or Partey, Berger and Ødegaard? Obviously, Basuma, Partey and Emile Smith-Rowe. Absolutely no doubt in my mind about that. Indanil says, Fabio Paratici to join Spurs. Done deal as per Fabrizio. Does it hurt to see them lot showing real ambition, irrespective of whether it fails or not? I mean, ambition is an interesting one because obviously at Juventus have done very well in signing a lot of free deals, like signing Emre Can, Rabiot, Ramsey. But I mean, they declined. So I don't look at it as an amazing piece of business. Conte is the one that I look at as if they get Conte, then I'm worried. I don't know why you wouldn't be worried if they got Conte. But people said the same kind of thing when they brought Mourinho in. They're showing ambition. They're looking to get a winner in, and look what happened. So I just don't. It doesn't. The thing about Spurs is Spurs have never really concerned me. Like, they never, ever really have concern. Look at them now. All the money they've spent, everything they've done, and they still haven't won a trophy. They've won nothing. The best they've done is get to, obviously, a Champions League final, which was a very fluky run to the final. They got a last-minute win against Ajax, of course. It's gutted that Ajax didn't go to that final. Very lucky with the VAR against Man City and in the quarterfinal, I think that was. Like, they've been very fortunate to have some players like Harry Kane come through. He is going to leave from the looks of things, which will be great because they historically don't spend too well on some of the players like that. You think about, they brought in Soldado, they brought in Eric Lamela using the Bale money, and really only Christian Eriksen carried them through that. Nasa Chadley that came in, Etienne Capoue. Now and again, they make a couple of decent signings. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg's been all right for them. Reguilon's a bit hit and miss. Doherty, no. Aurier, no. Davinson Sanchez has been all right. Eric Dyer, no. Spurs don't worry me. I'm not worried about Spurs. It's just there's a long way before Spurs come close to ever eclipsing Arsenal. It's a long, long way till they come anywhere close to it. So Hill says, Tom, what about a Jules Kounde tactical breakdown planned? Marcus say we might put a bid in. I've been a little reluctant to cover Jules Kounde. I obviously, like, to be honest, like, I only want to do the shows on the ones that I think is really worth educating you on and the ones that I think have got a chance. It's not just about getting views on a video. I'm not feeling too strongly about Jules. Like, people ask me to do these videos on like these players that are never going to sign for Arsenal, and I appreciate people throwing in the feedback, but I've always kind of wanted to do the channel in a way that I'll do shows on players that I genuinely think there is a link to, or there's a good story about, like the whole Ruben Neves £35 million story. That was a good video to do because he is a player in a position that we want. And I think there would be a chance of getting someone like Ruben Neves. But with Jules Kounde, I just can't see that. So until I see this kind of ramp up a little bit more and I see a little bit more legitimacy to the links, because Marca and Spanish outlets in general can be a little bit hit and miss. So I'm going to hold fire, Sahil, but we'll wait and see if there's any more legitimacy. But don't worry, if there is, we will cover him. I'm just a little bit hesitant on the Jules Kounde thing right now. Toby says, thoughts on Dusan Vlahovic, Sergino Dest, and Manor Solomon. The Solomon thing I'm not as keen on. I don't think he's a player for that position that I would be willing to, spend money for in that role. We've got a lot of players coming through on the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Saka, Martinelli, Pepe, maybe Buendia if we bring him in. I'm just not that keen on bringing him in. So I think that the noise for Solomon is very, very much focused on his camp and like his agents, his reps more than us. Sergino Dest I would love, but I don't think he's going to leave Barcelona. And Dusan Vlahovic, again, I've not seen too much of him, but I know he absolutely smashed it at Fiorentina. And maybe he's one for the future, but again, under a long-term contract and would cost a hell of a lot of money. Yes, Craig, being realistic is the best way, always. I'm not just going to do a fanciful, I'm not going to sit here and do like a tactical breakdown on, I don't know, someone ridiculous that we're not going to, like a Jack Grealish. Like, people want Jack Grealish. I just don't think it's going to happen. And if I did a tactical breakdown on Jack Grealish, yeah, sure, it might get a fair few views. But it's not what we're about. I'd rather be legitimate and give you the info on players that we're going to go out and get, not throw out a video just for the sake of throwing out a video. It's as simple as that. Mitchell says there's a silent I in the name, Tom, and it stands for integrity. Thanks, mate. You nearly lost me for a second. I was like, what is he talking about? Anyway, we have reached the halfway point of the show. Joe, I'll come back for your question in a second. We've reached the halfway point in the show, which does mean we are going to give away 2 tickets for the prize draw to see if you would like to win a signed Ray Parlour mount. So it's like a framed picture of Ray Parlour signed by the man himself with the certificate of authenticity as well. We are giving away 2 tickets today, which is great. And so I'm just going to go into the Discord server. If you want to join our Discord server, you can do. You just need to come up, become a member, and you can join. 24 have entered, it looks like. And there's quite a few random comments. You know what's really frustrating is people put random comments in the football competition one because it's so hard to then scroll back and find out. Let's just share this screen with you guys so you can see how we're going to do it. I'm going to do a random number generator. 24. I'm going to click this 5 times. And on the 5th one will be our first winner. I will then click it 5 times again. And then we'll get our second winner. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6 is our first winner. And that number 6 it's Kian. Congratulations to Kian, of course, a long-time listener, massive Hector Bellerin fan. Kian is the first winner of the ticket. The second ticket cannot be the same number. So if it comes out as 6 again, we will roll again. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Number 14, Thierry Henry himself. Who is number 14? It is Mr. Joe Kerr. Congratulations to Mr. Joe Kerr. That's 2 winners that haven't won for a little bit. Kian and Joe Kerr are our 2 winners of the prize to win. And go, Mr. Joe Kerr saying fix in the chat, and then he wins. The irony, the absolute irony with that, Joe. So there you go. You can't moan, son. Your number came out, mate. So there you go. They have won a free ticket into the prize draw for the signed Ray Parlour mount. So congratulations to you guys. If you would like to be in with a chance of still winning it, there are still tickets available that you can purchase over on Football Prizes, our sponsor. So make sure you go and get a ticket before it runs out. There's only about an hour left. Let me just throw it up on the screen so you guys can see. Here it is. The signed Ray Parlour mounts. If you win, you get to choose between him or a Rangers prize. I mean, if you want to pick it, you can, but we know that you want to get the signed Ray Parlour mount. You signed that frame there. There is only an hour and 53 minutes left, and there is only less than half the tickets have been sold. So there's a really good chance of you winning this one if you buy a ticket and go in for it. So there you go. Congratulations to Joe and to Kian, who have won a free ticket into it. So our next draw, of course, always every single Friday. We do these draws, and there you go. So, yes, don't I look stupid now? Yes, you do, son. Tim Jello, 14, Thierry. Surely you meant Theo Walcott. I'm not sure I did, mate. I'm not sure I did. Anyway, let's go back and find. Was it Joe's question? Yes, Joe Gifford, who said, if Guendouzi's attitude problems didn't exist, where would you see him fitting into this current Arsenal squad? Probably a bit of a squad player right now. Box-to-box player, play alongside Thomas Partey maybe. Or, if we were to sign, say, a number 6, say, I don't know, someone like Basuma, for instance. That makes a lot of sense. Why don't we do that? Someone like Basuma could come in, play in that number 6 role, Thomas Partey playing just ahead, and then Guendouzi alongside in kind of a midfield 3 like Liverpool use. That, for me, would certainly, I think, help us anyway. So there you go. We've only got about 8 more minutes left of the show. It's only a 45-minute one today because I've got entertaining guests this evening. So very British way of saying that. So I can't stay on for too much longer. How much do I bench, Stan's got? Not a lot, mate. I'm more running than gym at the moment. I am prepping to go more to the gym. But at the moment, 5Ks twice a week. Lost a stone so far. Honestly, the feeling of when... I don't know if people are very conscious about the weight. Cover your ears if you are. Apologies. I know people get very funny about other people talking about diets and stuff like that. But it's my channel, so I'll do what I want. At uni, which is good. Oh, it makes me feel like uni was 5 years ago when I left. And I haven't seen the number 14 pop up on the scales. If you're in the UK, if you're abroad, we use stone over here to measure weight. I have not seen the number 14 pop up in about 5 years. So that was a great moment. So yeah, no gym, not benching anything heavy right now, but 5Ks 2-3 times a week. Smashing that out, son. Smashing it out, mate. There you go. Sorry, mate. No numbers on what I benched so far. Yes, so I will wrap up soon, Ben. I will wrap the audacity of this kid. We're having takeaway tonight, Scrubber Steve. It's going to be brilliant, son. Pratima says, how much will Savic cost to buy for Arsenal on the basis of his contract left at Lazio? Or Milinkovic Savic, Serbian international. A hell of a lot, mate. As I said before, prediction is that he is going to go to Real Madrid. Is probably where I think he'll end up. But yeah, 100%. Thanks, Gladiator Scoops. Much appreciated, son. Chris Rhodes says, were you a world snooker? Oh, yes. I've heard this before. Kieran Wilson. So the lookalike so far, we've got Kieran Wilson, Miles Teller. Is that his name? The guy who's in Whiplash, the film. And there's one more. I can't remember who the third one is, but yeah, keep the lookalikes coming because someone said Koke, which, I mean, the Atletico Madrid player, I don't think that's very good. But yeah, there's been a few, but I've heard that one quite a few times. Kyron Wilson is one that has come up. It's the face. It's all my facial features like scrunched into the middle of my head because it's so big. But yeah. Sorry, Kieran. Sorry, Owen. I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Apologies, Ian. I'm really sorry about that, mate. No, Juro. Social says, Tom, this is more of a sensible question. Where would Buendia fit into the squad if we sign him being a right wing? Will that mean Saka and Pepe will get less game time? I think there's all the chance for rotation, mate. You don't have to play the same lineup every single week. Having like 3 or 4 players in your right and left wing positions is absolutely fine. So that's what we got. That's what we got to move for. Oh no! Can you still hear me? I hope you can because my camera's gone. I've frozen on the screen. Hold on, bear with me 1 second. You should still be able to hear me. You're now seeing you're seeing a blue circle now. Apologies for some reason. I don't know why this is or why this happens. But it does. Hold on. There we go. I should be back. There I am. Sorry about that. I don't know. You're going to catch me out with a free screen there. Apologies for that. I should be back on your screen now. Yes, Laporte is another lookalike, or as Hugh Wizzy's fraud gang likes to say, the fat Laporte. Yes. You'd never guess that I was sparked in any way to start a diet. But when you get called the fat Laporte, that's what you get called, unfortunately. Louis Enrique has hacked his account. Get on the plane, Emmerich. I'm off to the Euros, lads. I've been on the diet and I'm off. I'm on the plane. That's how it's working. What a face to freeze on. Absolutely unbelievable. Yes, I do use OBS. So that is the system that I use. That's the best way to use. 100%. It's the best streaming system I've got that I'm using. Toby says, what are a few players that are heavily linked to Arsenal? What that you really don't want? Really don't want Moussa Dembele, the French striker from Lyon. Really don't want him. Kieran Trippier, really don't want him. Who else? There's not many, to be fair. We've had a pretty good window in regards to links. So yeah, we really have. Laporte. Very good. I'll give you that. Very, very good. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up there. I'm just so offended. Laporte. Hashtag Laporte in the chat box. We are going to wrap things up there. Thank you ever so much, guys, for tuning in. As always, it's been a crazy week. We've done a lot of shows. We've done loads and loads of shows today. This is your third one of the day. So thank you ever so much for tuning in, as always. Tomorrow morning, there should be a 8 a.m. transfer breakdown, the usual. But as I did say earlier on, I am entertaining guests this evening. That is all I'm going to say. I may be a little bit sensitive. But, you know, I've got work. I'm working tomorrow. I'm grafting the whole day through. We're going to power on through. But 8 a.m., I plan on still being here. So I plan on getting you a show. So what I want to see is if you are tuning in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., understand there is going to be a very sensitive Tom for you guys. So you better tune in and drop a like for the commitment. So, you know, that's all I'm going to say. I don't need to hint anymore. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But there is going to be a show. I was going to say I promise. I'm really, really going to try and put a show for you still. 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. We are committed. This is what you subscribe for. This is what you subscribe as a member for. And I'm not going to let you down. I'm not. I'm going to set like 7 alarms. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I am going to be there. I'm willing it into existence. I'll see you tomorrow morning, guys. Have an absolutely fantastic day and evening. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. All the best. Much love. And as always, up the Arsenal.